The doll turned its head toward the camera. We were all watching the living room TV, seeing the late-night security feed play in black and white. The glass case stood in the middle of the frame, still and shiny, with the doll inside, pale face, red bow, dark eyes that never looked straight at you. It had not moved for hours. Then, at 2:13 a.m., the doll's chin lifted a little, and its head turned, slow and stiff, until it faced us. The motion was small, like a person trying not to be seen. The room on the screen was empty. No one was there. The air looked heavy, like warm breath on a window. Sarah grabbed my hand. Ben whispered, "No way." Lily hid her face in my arm and peeked out between my sleeve and my side. The doll's mouth wasn't open, but something about the shape looked like it wanted to speak. Then the picture jumped, just a tiny glitch, and we heard a soft clink from the speakers, the kind glass makes when a finger taps it. The doll didn't move again. The clock in the corner ticked to 2:14. I pressed pause with my thumb that didn't feel steady. On the screen, the doll's eyes, dark and glassy, pointed straight at the camera. Straight at us. That was the worst moment. That is why this story has the title it does. But it didn't start there. It started with something simple, something you would not think twice about, the kind of moment families take pictures of and then put on the fridge with a magnet. We were in Mexico on a short trip. It was summer. The town was bright and busy, with narrow streets and painted walls and a little bakery that made bread shaped like shells. We had rented a small house near the plaza because we liked to walk everywhere. The living room had cool tile floors and a big window that looked out at a tree full of birds. In the afternoons, a man pushed a cart outside and sold frozen fruit bars that tasted like mango and lime. Lily liked the mango ones best. She had mango on her chin almost every day. On our second day, we went to the market. It was loud and kind, with people calling out what they sold and music from a radio near the fruit stand. There were candies, sweaters, bowls carved with flowers, and toys. That's where Lily saw the doll. It sat on a shelf beside other dolls, but it looked different. It had soft black hair and a white dress with tiny rose flowers sewn near the collar. A red bow sat on top of its head. Its face was smooth and pale, with eyes that were too dark to see the whites. Its mouth was small and pressed, like it was trying very hard to behave. Lily lifted it gently, the way kids lift a new friend. "Can we?" she asked. Her voice was hopeful, but also careful. She loved old things, things that felt like they had stories. The seller said the doll was made long ago by a woman who loved to sew. He said it brought buena suerte, good luck. He smiled as he said it. His smile was warm. It reached his eyes. We bought it. We should have left it there, but sometimes you don't know the shape of a story until you are already inside it. Back at the house, Lily named the doll Rosie because of the tiny flowers and the red bow. She made a small blanket out of a kitchen towel and set Rosie on the shelf by the TV. "She can watch cartoons with us," Lily said. Ben made the doll wave, and Lily laughed and told him not to make jokes. Ben always makes jokes when he doesn't know what else to do with the air around him. That first night, the house felt new and cozy. We played a card game. We ate warm bread from the bakery with butter that melted into the lines. We were asleep by 10. Just before I turned out the light, I looked down the hall toward the living room. The moon made a square on the tile. The doll sat on the shelf, facing a little to the left, like it was watching the window to see if anyone would come home. Morning came with bright sun and a rooster somewhere far away. We made eggs. We planned the day. It was normal. But in the corner of the living room, the doll was facing a different way. Not a big change. Just enough that I noticed. Instead of looking left, its chin pointed more to the right, toward the hall where the bedrooms were. I told myself I had remembered wrong. I turned the doll back toward the window. I did not tell the others because why would I? It was nothing. At lunch we went to the plaza. We listened to a band. We shared a cold bottle of soda with 2 straws. Lily held Rosie on her lap. A little girl at the next table asked if she could touch the bow. Lily said yes and held the doll out nicely. Everything felt safe and simple. The sky was blue. The day was hot and dry. When we got home, the living room felt cooler. I liked the way the tile made my feet feel. That night the first small thing happened. It was not scary, not really. Just enough to put a wrinkle in the smooth afternoon. We were brushing our teeth. Ben was humming. Sarah was listing what we needed to pack for a day trip tomorrow. Then we heard a soft squeak from the living room, like a shoe turning on tile. We paused and listened. Nothing. We finished brushing. I checked the door to the patio and the lock. All good. Then I looked at the shelf. The doll was not where Lily had left it. It was on the next shelf down, sitting near the TV remote like it had climbed to get closer to the screen. "Did you move Rosie?" I asked Lily. She shook her head. She was too busy making a nest for the stuffed panda she brought from home. "Maybe you did," Sarah said. I didn't argue. I picked up the doll, set it back on the top shelf, and told myself not to be silly. The next morning, the doll's head was turned toward the hall again. "Okay," I said out loud to the empty living room. "No." I picked up the doll and turned its head back left toward the window. The neck turned with a faint click. The skin on the back of my neck tingled in a way I didn't like. I rubbed my arm and walked away. When I reached the kitchen, I looked back. The head was still facing the window, exactly as I had left it. That afternoon, we bought fresh fruit and a bag of sweet rolls. We played cards. We shared jokes. At dusk, as the sky went purple and a moth bumped the window screen, Sarah said, "Let's just set the little camera tonight. The one we brought for the front door in case of late deliveries at home." She meant the small security camera we use sometimes. It connects to my phone. It can see in the dark and it saves little movies if something moves. "You're thinking it too," she said, with a smile that had nerves under it. I nodded. "We'll do it. And then we'll laugh at ourselves in the morning." We put the camera on the bookshelf, a few feet away from the doll. I opened the app on my phone and checked the picture. The black and white view showed the shelf, the TV, the edge of the couch, and the window shadows on the floor. I set the alert to motion, turned the sound low, and placed the phone face down on the nightstand. Sometime after midnight, I felt a little buzz. I woke, looked at the phone, and saw a small box that said, "Motion detected, living room." My heart did that quick, tight beat it does when a sudden noise wakes you. I tapped the box and watched the clip. For the first few seconds, nothing moved. Then a car outside flashed light through the window, and the shadow of the window frame slid along the floor like a slow wave. That must have been it, I thought. The camera had seen the changing light. I closed the app, put the phone down, and fell back asleep. In the morning, we forgot about the camera. We ate sweet rolls and wiped sugar off chins and planned a bus ride to see a beautiful old church. We were on our way out when Lily stopped by the shelf and frowned. "Daddy," she said, "why is Rosie looking in our room?" The doll's head had shifted again, just a few inches, but clear. I told her I'd fix it later and said we would be late for the bus. I didn't want to see that head turn one more time. The church was lovely. We lit a candle. We walked back. The street was warm. The house felt cool and almost kind. I told myself the doll was just old. The head was loose. It was nothing more than that. But at night, the app lit up again. Motion detected, living room. I watched the clip. The shadow from a car again. But then, after the shadow moved on, the doll's face changed. Not big. Not a cartoon. Just the smallest shift of chin up and over, like someone trying to listen. I replayed it. The second time through, I saw the most terrible part. Before the chin moved, the eyes moved first. Only a little. But they moved. I woke Sarah, and then we woke Ben, and then Lily, because she is the one who loves Rosie and should be part of what we decide. We went to the couch and watched the clip together. Lily held my arm tight but wanted to see. Ben said, "That could be the camera glitching, right?" He wanted it to be a glitch. I wanted that too. Sarah bit her lip the way she does when she is thinking. Then she said, "Tomorrow we call someone." "Who?" I asked. "Someone who knows about this kind of thing," she said. "Not a prank person. A real team." In the morning, while the sun made a bright square on the tile, we called the number we got from the desk at the small museum in the plaza. The man there had laughed when he told us about experts, but he gave me a name anyway. "They help people who get unnerved," he said. He did not say haunted. He did not need to. 2 people came that afternoon. They were kind and careful. One was named Mark. He had gray in his hair and a calm voice. The other was named Alana. She wore a bracelet with tiny blue beads and said she liked cats and old stories. They did not make fun of us. They did not make big promises. They asked many small questions. How old is the doll? We did not know. Where did you get it? The market. What have you seen? Head turns. Eye shift. Nighttime movement in the camera. How do you feel? Afraid. But also curious. But mostly afraid. They brought little tools. A meter that makes soft beeps. A small box that records sound and shows a dancing line. A camera of their own with a heavy case. They asked if they could place the doll somewhere safe. We said yes. Mark looked at the glass case in the corner. This will do, he said. Do you mind if we place her inside? He spoke like the doll was a person. It felt right. We nodded. We cleaned the case gently and set it on the table. We opened the top and, with gloves that Alana brought, we lifted the doll and placed it inside. Her dress brushed the glass and made a soft whisper. The red bow looked brighter behind the clear door. Mark clicked the case shut and turned a tiny key. Not to trap anything, he said softly, just to make a clear line. He placed a small bell on top. If the case opens, we'll hear this. He put the meter beside the case and the recorder near the TV. We'll sit in the kitchen and listen, he said. You can sit with us or go rest. But keep the house quiet. We sat with them. We drank water. We watched through the kitchen doorway. The living room looked like a stage. The doll sat in the glass, hands folded, eyes forward. The meter made one tiny blip and then settled. The recorder's line walked calmly across its screen. The house made house sounds, a pipe, a sigh, a truck outside, the hum of a fridge. For a while, nothing happened. It was almost boring. That was a gift. We let our shoulders fall a little. Lily drew a picture of a tree. Ben played with a rubber band. Sarah stared at the doll like it would move if she blinked. I kept watching the line on the recorder go left to right, like a small river that never stops. The sun slid across the tile and climbed the wall. The house smelled like coffee. The day was plain. It felt good to say plain in my head. Plain, plain, plain. Then the meter clicked twice. Fess, chirp. Alana looked up. Mark set his coffee down before he could finish the sip. We all went very still. The recorder's line wiggled in a new way, like a voice clearing its throat far away. Is anyone there? Mark asked, voice even not loud. He spoke to the air near the case, not to us. We are here to help the family. We mean no harm. The recorder's line jumped once, like a shy hand raising. Can you tell us your name? Alana said. Lily squeezed my arm and whispered, Rosie. I squeezed back once. That's the doll's name, I whispered. We don't know the other name. Nothing. Silence. Then the softest sound, like a fingernail touching glass. It came from the case, Ben said too loud. The meter clicked again. The bell on top did not move. Mark stood but didn't go closer. We'd like to understand, he said, calm as a deep lake. We'll watch. We'll listen. We watched. We listened. The doll's chin moved. It moved slow, like it was heavy or sleepy. It lifted a little, then turned the tiniest bit toward the camera on the bookshelf. The camera made a tiny focus sound. The recorder's line waved and then went flat, like someone held their breath. The meter gave a soft, steady beep beep beep, not fast, not slow, just there. Mark kept his hands at his sides. Alana whispered, thank you. The clock on the wall showed 1:57 p.m. The sun was bright. The world outside was normal. Inside, the small, strange thing kept happening, a little more each minute. The head turned back to center. The eyes didn't blink, dolls don't blink, but the light on the glass made it look like a reflected tear slid across the surface near the doll's cheek. I told myself it was only light. I told myself lots of things. Let's step out and review the feed, Mark said finally. His voice sounded like a parent telling a scared kid the next right step. We went to the living room TV, turned on the camera feed from the little security cam, and rewound. We watched the last 5 minutes. We saw what we had just seen, but smaller and harder because the camera does not care how you feel. Then came the moment I told you first, the moment where this all becomes the kind of story you do not forget. At 2:13 p.m. on the feed, the doll's face turned toward us and stayed. The speaker clicked and made that small glass tap. We paused and stared. The doll's eyes were as dark as stones at the bottom of a river. "What do we do now?" Sarah asked. Her voice was quiet and dry. "We keep the case closed," Mark said. "We keep watching." And then, he didn't finish the sentence. The house felt tight. Even the hall felt narrow. We went back to the kitchen and tried to act like checking the mail or folding towels would be normal now. Lily drew another tree, but this one had a small square at the bottom, like a door. By evening, the sun softened. The meter stayed calm. The bell did not ring. The recorder picked up only our steps and the hum of the fridge and a truck far away. "Maybe it's done," Ben said. His voice had hope in it that made me want to believe him. "We'll leave the cameras running tonight," Alana said. "We'll sleep on the couch in shifts. If anything moves, we'll see it first." We made space for them. We laid out blankets. We set 2 cups of water by the sink. We kept the glass case on the table where we could see it from the couch and from the hall. At 9, Lily fell asleep with her hand on my shoulder. At 10, the house went quiet. At 11, the recorder's line flickered, then went straight again. At midnight, nothing. At 1 a.m., nothing. At 2:03 a.m., the camera switched to a new clip. No one touched it. No one made a sound. On the screen, the glass case showed a small fog patch on the inside, like a breath mark. It faded. Then another fog patch bloomed and slowly traced a curve, like a letter being drawn from the inside out. "Are you seeing that?" Ben said. Alana nodded, eyes wide but steady. The fog line made one more swoop and stopped. We stared at the mark. It looked like the start of a word. Then, from inside the case, something knocked. Not loud. Not angry. Just a knuckle on glass. 1, 2, 3. The bell on top did not move. We all looked up at the same time, and that was when the glass itself gave a tiny sound, like ice in a cup, ting, and a hair-thin crack appeared in the bottom corner, running toward the latch like a line drawn by a careful hand. The doll did not move, but the crack did. It slid a little farther and then stopped.